craving for, so the Buddhists actually don't call it wanting or desiring, they call it craving. This craving for freedom in the future is suffering. But the first initial problem is the identification with self, with an illusory self, living in an illusion. And then it's craving to find freedom in time, in the next big thing. And the mind is always doing it. It's always looking for what is it that's causing me to be unhappy, and what is it that gives me happiness. And it's always associating that. It works away, trying to work it out. And it runs it's running all day and night, and it runs as an illusion that people generally aren't conscious of. They're not conscious that they're always going from one thing to another, to another, to another. The Buddhists call this suffering, so identification with self, and then the attempt to find freedom in pleasure or pain, or the avoidance of pain. So then, how can wanting be healing? So I suppose I will tell you my tantric story, which I did by accident when I was about 11 or 12 years old. What happened was, I'm sure lots of you have heard this before, it's a slightly embarrassing tale, and I can't remember it exactly, so I'm sure that it changes every time I tell it, to an extent. But basically, I used to listen to music, so find this romantic music. You know how when you can listen to some music and you can't tell exactly what it is, but some music just touches your heart and just creates this feeling of love in you, and then you decide then you define that music as something that you like. And maybe this doesn't happen to all people, but to a lot of people, they can most probably recognize that some pieces of music just touch something really deep in them. So what I used to do was it depends where my mum and dad were. I'd either do it in my bedroom or do it in my mum and dad's lounge. And I put on this big headset and I would listen to pieces of music that made me feel like that. And then I would imagine the perfect boyfriend that I wanted. So the most ideal boyfriend and the most ideal life. And sometimes I would put like cushions around me. If I was in my bedroom, I'd put cushions around me as if he was hugging me. It depends where I was. And I did it lots, I did it often. And then I would imagine that. And as I imagined like the perfect life with him and everything that I wanted, sometimes it would be a girlfriend. I can't say that I just swing just one way. But it would predominantly be a boyfriend. And as I imagined that, I would begin to feel more and more fulfilled. Like I'd feel more and more love. And especially as I imagined the details, and my body would begin to vibrate at a very, you could say, like high frequency. And I feel like I was emitting love, even though I didn't even know what that was. But now when I look back, like it felt like this love was like pouring out of me. And then it would get to the point where like the imagination of him began to disappear, and then I would just be vibrating in love. And it's such a healing thing to do and such a beautiful thing to do. And basically what I think I was doing was I had been taught and I believed that a boyfriend in the future would complete me. And then I also had like all the hormones and the chemicals for it. And then as I imagined it, I began to own that situation as if it was already happening or had happened. And then I would eventually get to the place where the love was there without the imagination of it. And then I began to realize, and I'm sure it to an extent it made like relationships a little bit tricky for me, because I began to realize that the love was in me. So I began to realize, before I'd even had a romantic relationship, that I already could feel that in loveness without a man being present or woman being present. So, and that's quite profound to get to that realization. I knew it without a doubt that I could generate that love without anyone doing anything or giving me anything, or without any circumstances changing. That it was something in me. So that's very beautiful. And this is later in life. When I've got into spirituality, though, I began to stop doing this. I began to deny myself doing this because I thought it was craving and I thought it was bad in relationship to Buddhism. And then later on, I realized that actually I was meditating when I was doing it. It was really beautiful. What was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah. Oh yeah, later on, I think, I don't know if I said this, I found out later on that it was a tantra practice. So it's something that they teach in tantra. Particularly in the past, it was taught, I mean, I don't know really, like, I've not researched it that much, but from what I understand, it was particularly taught to men, and it was taught in that you would pick a goddess or your guru in which you were in love with. So predominantly someone that wasn't alive, but it could be your guru as well. And you would pick the one that you were in love with, like characteristics in which you felt really fulfilled with. And then you would use that image to do what I did. And it wouldn't be about getting her or having her in any way. It would be about generating that love. And then what you then also did was you then also projected that onto other women. So you'd go through these different stages. So you would feel this love for the guru. So you'd use her image to bring this positivity and this love. And then you would begin to see her in all other women, which is really beautiful. And then finally, you see it in yourself, that love is yourself, that you don't need anything to give you that. That's super beautiful. Beautiful. That's beautiful. And I understand that some people don't know what I'm talking about. My partner, who is soon to be my husband, he explained to me that some people don't have such a vivid imagination. Like, I have a very vivid and creative imagination, and that's not a good thing or better thing or worse thing. And so for those that are more logical, I think this is a little bit more abstract and hard for people to do, to maintain their imagination. So I understand for some people this might not work, or this might seem really alien, but that's okay. You can still hear about it and never know, it might one day arise. Yeah, so it it's maybe not for everybody, but maybe it is. Maybe there's different ways you could be creative if you've not got such a creative mind, like making like a board, an image that you actually look at.